Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you in Franchise Summit, where we help our prospective franchisees to know our industry leaders better and to evaluate the business opportunity after hearing from them directly. My name is Ashita Marya, and I'm the CEO of Franchiseindia, and will help you to assess and unleash the risks and opportunities involved in the hyper exchange franchise opportunity today. Franchiseindia exhibitions from past 22 years have been providing a platform to about thousands of investors to evaluate the franchise businesses for themselves by coming on face to face to about 100 plus shows nationwide. And going ahead in these times, we are doing the similar activities virtually and helping our investors meet the franchisors online. Today we have Dipanjan Purkayastha with us, who's the co-founder and the CEO. He'll speak about the upcoming trends within the industry and what the company has to offer for all of the prospective franchisees. Dipanjan is, a bit about him. He's a NIT Kurukshetra and a SP Jan Mumbai alumni, has about 20 years of experience working in fintech space across US, Canada, and India. And he's been structuring larger deals with financial services and fintech products and global IT players like Patni and iGate. And what is very interesting is that he was serving as a VP at Tech Mahindra earlier. He's co-founded Hyper Exchange. He's co-founded Tiger, which is a logistic and a multi-mode transport app. And he founded startup accelerator Drishtikon and is an angel investor at Let's Venture as well. Before we go into details, would like to understand, Dipanjan, how do you do all of this?
Ashita, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me here, and very happy to be part of this conversation with you. I think Franchiseindia is doing a fantastic job focusing on opportunities in the India space. But also for the audience today, it's a very interesting day today. In case you know this, it's the 21st day of the 21st year on the 21st century. So
that's right.
Welcome to all of you to what will hopefully be an interesting session. So Ashita, question, to that question, I think we all have 24 hours, all of us, right? We have to fit in what we do. So I think time management is key, but you got to do what you're passionate about. So which is why, midway through my career in the US, I kind of packed bags and came back to India because that's what it felt like the right thing to do at that point, and kind of started up again from scratch. It's been a very, very interesting journey.
Yeah, that looks like also on paper would have been very interesting. So we would be, really excited today to hear about the hyper exchange as to, what exactly is the opportunity and, how investors can join hands with your company. What is in there for them?
I think hyper exchange is one of the fastest growing marketplaces in the refurbished electronic space, which, by the way, is also one of the fastest growing industries today. Post-pandemic, it's actually been growing faster. So while our industry space was relevant before, I think it's become even more relevant in today's world after post-pandemic, as work from home situations have increased. Many people have had to take haircuts in salaries. A lot of us have, because of unfortunate business circumstances, have lost jobs. So our disposable income overall has come down. Globally, there's a recessionary push in the economy. And while incomes have gone down, the need for computing has gone significantly up. I mean, it's not just us that are now working from home. Our children are learning from home too. So, and this is across categories, whether you are a high-flying executive or you're the chauffeur who drives that executive around, both of them today need laptops and tablets for their children to study at home. And that has fueled the current demand. So, of course, the pandemic was a very unfortunate situation, and hopefully with the vaccines coming, we're coming out of that. The challenge is that, we have actually been struggling to keep up with the demand. So it's actually been a very, very positive growth year for us. And we're happy for our partners to kind of join us in that journey.
Great. So if you can now, take us through the opportunity details, the presentation.
So we're going to quickly talk about, are you able to see my shared screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to quickly talk about what is, we're going to talk about these 5 areas. First, the market and who the team is. So we build some credibility around the execution capability of the team, the strategy that we take going forward, and how are we bringing on partners with us to bring the results and growth that we've seen, right? So if you look at the market, India and the refurbished market is exploding. It's predicted to be $25 billion globally by 2020, out of which 40% lies in India. And this market has been growing at 25% CAGR over the last 5 years. This year, we are actually experiencing over 70% month-on-month growth in this business, right? So this is a market that's about to explode. And we are one of the players that have kind of taken a leadership pole position in it. The reason is that if you see the yellow blob underneath, it's an underserved market. Over 95% of the market is gray today, unstructured. And we are one of the first players in 2016 that started to focus on structuring this business. So that's where we are. And how are we structuring business? We're structuring business by building trust around it. So there's quality assurance processes. We are providing warranty and several other measures to make sure that the customers understand that this can be a trustworthy product and they can have a long time usage for it. We're enhancing availability through our distribution, and that's where a lot of our partner relationships come forward. We have distribution omni-channel. We are one of the few franchise partners who would offer you online as well as an offline opportunity to grow. And we are also benchmarking pricing, which means that whether you buy a HX product in Mumbai or in Delhi or a tier 2 city, you're going to get the same price and the same quality and the same level of support. So that's how we are leveraging this marketplace. There are not too many large players in the Indian space right now in this. There are a few, they're growing. They're in different areas. We choose to be on the space around the sales space. We are the go-to-market players, so we're building a brand around that. The only competition I would say would be global. There's a company called Back Market, which is France-based, and they are growing in the global space outside of India. Of course, we have an advantage because we have a lower India-based cost center, whereas the competition is really a more European-based company. So this is what I see, Ashita, is this is very early days in a market that's going to get increasingly heated up and grow. So we're going to go to the next part, where I was going to talk about some of these competitors, but we're going to fly through them. I mentioned some of them. Some of these have gotten acquired, some of these have grown. But if you see the focus of how the competition stacks up and where we are focused on getting, we are trying to move omni-channel. So there's offline as well as online focus for what we do. And we are largely playing the branded space of the business. So that's what we are doing. We are talking about the competition, and I think if you see, we are more focused on the branded experience, and we are trying to build something that's omni-channel, which is a very, very high interest. And I'm going to come back to that because the e-commerce market in this year, the pandemic year, and as it goes forward, I think this rate will keep happening. Everybody has reached the numbers that they had planned to reach in the next 10 years. So essentially, the market has grown in 1 year what in e-commerce is supposed to grow in the next 10 years. Of course, some of it has happened at the cost of offline, and offline is going to come back up as the vaccines get better and we kind of go back to shopping offline. But the e-commerce place that's been taken up will not go down, which means any partner that's offering you should be, as a partner, if you're looking for investments in a space, you should look for brands that are willing to offer you a piece of the online pie as well as the offline pie. So that's where we want to go. Coming to the team, and Ashita mentioned about me and my background, but we made sure we're working with a team that has very strong execution capability. So we have my co-founders. Ashish Chakravarti is a TCS veteran. He heads out tech and operations. He's worked for TCS for, has actually been managed Ratan Tata's office as part of his role. And, Ashish leads our tech. He's a global technologist, has been a very, very senior person in the TCS organization before he quit to start up with me. Satanik Roy heads our product, and he's, as of this week, you should see the magazine coming out soon. He's part of this year's 30 under 30 list of Forbes. So he's made that. I, had the honor of being awarded TIE's Entrepreneur of the Year award for the 2020, and Dijo Charity, who handles our finance and operations, has been a very senior finance professional who's been part of some of the largest organizations at the board level, including the organization that helped build UPI in India. So that's the team that's making this business happen. And the team that's supporting it are also fairly well-known names. Our key investor and mentor is CP Gurnani, who's the CEO of Tech Mahindra, and I think dubiously mentioned as the highest paid CEO of India. So I think I keep seeing a lot of articles about that. We make fun about that with CP quite a bit. And Debu Mukherjee, who is the chief marketing officer of UB Group, and he heads the Heineken business in India. So that's a team that's kind of motivating and taking us forward. Who we don't have here is another gentleman called Mukesh Soni. This deck is slightly dated. Mukesh is also now part of the board. Mukesh Soni is the CEO of Apollo's Arceon fund in India, which is one of the largest asset recovery firm in the world today. So that's the team that we have. Just Ashita wanted to cover that because I think it's very important. If I were sitting on the other side of the table evaluating businesses, to figure out what kind of execution team is going to make that business go forward. So I think I want to mention that.
Oh, of course.
I'm open to any questions, or do you want me to go forward, or do you have any questions?
No, we can go forward.
Okay. So we've already covered some of this, but we have, I think the industry has recognized us quite a bit over time. We went on, for example, in 2018, when we were just 2 years old, to be awarded as one of the top 10 startups at the Collision event. Collision, I don't know if you know, is the largest startup event in the world. It's now held in Toronto. It used to be held in New Orleans before. And we were among the top 10 startups. I think there are a few thousand startups that end up there, including very large startups like Uber or even Tesla was there. So, and this was a kind of, the award was given by the ex-vice president of US, Al Gore. So I think we've made some treks over time where we've been recognized. The company was originally incubated at IIM Calcutta and was co-incubated by Microsoft. And we've grown since then. So we've grown to, I remember, the first month we started up our business in 2016, we sold about 50 phones. Now we typically sell around 20,000 a month. So it's been an interesting journey from there. And we plan to cross 1 lakh phones a month in the next 4 to 5 month time frame. So, but how do we do this, right? How do we grow? What makes us different? So I think there are very clear differentiation that we play on. First is a term that I love to call again. It's as good as new. And the I is really the customer at the center of it. So the I really looks like a bobblehead with a dot on top, and it's a person in there. And we are very clear that when you provide a refurbished experience to our customers, they should not be able to tell that this is a refurbished phone. It looks absolutely like new. We provide a 12-month replacement warranty, which means if the product is not working after 11 months for some technical reason that we are responsible for, we'll actually replace it, which even new products you don't get that way. And we obviously have a 30-day replacement warranty, assurance. We provide the best exchange prices guaranteed for every phone. So we will match any competitor's prices on exchange. And we give you assured buyback, which means a user can come and sell their phone back to us at up to 80% of their purchase value in 9 months, which means you can keep a phone for almost a year and only spend 20% on the cost of the phone, which if you're thinking about, changing your phone every year and you use premium phones like most of our target audiences, user base, you're typically spending on a 30,000 rupee phone. Here you're getting the 30,000 rupee, just so you understand the phone, math. A 30,000 rupee phone will typically cost 20,000 for us. And at 20% of that, so you only spending 4,000 bucks on that phone, on the ownership of the phone. So that's the true cost of ownership of a phone with us, as opposed to, and it's the same quality phone. You would not be able to tell the difference from the quality. So that's what we do. We also provide great InstaCover, InstaCare, which means at-home services for repair, at-home services for Insta warranty, not just on phones, but across all electronics products. And when we take our franchise partners, depending on the franchisee option that we select, there are multiple options to choose from. You can also get authorization for these services, which obviously carry a significantly higher markup than just sales. So here is kind of the business model in one shot. We have a specific set of products, refurbished mobiles, laptops. We also have a new range of products under HX, which are smart TVs and audio products. We have instant warranty plans. This is the blue circle here, if you're following the screen. We have home care services for repair and AMCs, annual maintenance contracts. And we also offer B2B testing services, which means for people who are actually in the B2B space, dealing in bulk electronic products, we offer them testing services because we have a unique IP called Faraday. Faraday is the world's first diagnostic platform that automatically checks and certifies products within 2 minutes. We are the only company in the world that has that. And we did that because when we entered the market in 2016, we realized that everybody was, when you procure these products from vendors and, wholesalers, everybody was buying on a strategy that I call hope. Okay. So they're buying it without realizing what the quality of the product is, because it usually takes around 10 minutes for you to check a phone or a laptop for quality manually. And when you buy a lot, you typically buy a lot of 1,000 products at a time or 2,000 products at a time. It's not physically possible for you to check all of these at the point of purchase. So most people would just buy it on hope and then open it up in the factory and then figure out what's wrong with the product, right? And this is a critical element, which was a challenge in the refurbished industry. Refurbished industry typically was running at a 8% margin and turnaround time was at 45 days because it will take that much time for the logistics and then the repair and then the resell. With Faraday, because we are able to diagnose the product at the point of purchase, we are able to reduce basically, first of all, we are able to check the quality of the product that we like to buy. Our, the system on the cloud would connect with our stock management system and tell them what spares was required for repairs of the products that are being purchased. So by the time our products hit the factory, the spares are already ready and we're ready to repair and it go to market. So this crashed the 45-day cycle to a 15-day cycle for us. And because we are able to choose and pick the products we want and reject the ones that we didn't, we're able to enhance the 8% margin to a 27% margin, which is going out right this year. Hopefully we'll be reaching a 33% margin. So it's a game changer that we had. And obviously, as we are for the longest time using it for our own procurement, but because it's so successful and it's changed kind of the game of the industry a little bit, a lot of companies, including large brands, now want it and want to use it for their own requirements, as well as other players who are in the bulk business. So that's where the B2B testing services come in. And you'll see the unique IP on top in the yellow ball up there. That's the Faraday Diagnostic platform. FXP is the Faraday Experience Point, which is a retail kiosk of Faraday that we offer to every partner of ours in their store. And that automates the whole buyback process for them. Customers can come in and basically slide their phone into that kiosk and automatically get their exchange price. And they can also, on the kiosk, surf for all the inventory on our platform and not just depend on the little inventory that the franchisee has invested in their store, which means that although they have a small inventory in store, they're able to access the entire inventory of the company at the store and order from there and get it delivered the next day at their home or at the store. So that's what the FXP, the Faraday Exchange Point, Experience Point gives you. FES is for the Faraday Enterprise Services, is actually for large brands like Samsung, Apple, Jio, and others who want to use this for their own backend. So that's not relevant for our partners here, but we do have that. And of course, a business model is inventory-based sales for premium products, which we do ourselves. And the marketplace model where you use our franchise partners and others to provide online and offline device sales. And there are some backend partnerships we have for warranty and others. As I mentioned earlier, the distribution is both online. We are premium sellers, basically the top sellers across Flipkart, Amazon, Paytm, Udaan, all the large marketplaces. And we have, agreements with all these partners to allow our partners, our franchisee partners, to be able to access that platform, which directly they'll not be able to do because there's a lot of compliance and auditing and everything that's required to be a part of these platforms. But through us, they're able to do that because we can certify that to these marketplaces and they can sell through us. So that's a huge opportunity that's not available to any of these marketplaces who are paranoid about quality and about transparency. So we mentioned them that we have our own software platform that oversees the whole thing. It syncs to their platform, so they're able to see everything, which is why we're able to offer this to our partners. So complete online access to top marketplaces. And of course, offline, we have the traditional retail chains. And so we have tie-ups with several companies. For example, given that CP is a mentor, we obviously have access to all of Tech Mahindra campuses for our kiosks, which I offer. We also have similar large campuses, some other brands that we can talk to you offline about, where you are able to put kiosks in, and those are basically captive audiences for you. So that's offered to franchisees. And we are also happy to discuss high street retail points for the right partners. So that's the go-to-market pyramid. Ashita, there's a little bit here about Faraday, but I think I've already mentioned this in the previous one, so I'm going to skip over it. But if you see the picture of the lady standing next to this, what looks like this kiosk, we call this the lipstick. It's basically the FXP. That's what the Faraday experience point looks like. It's a very sleek, thin kiosk that comes a little above your waist, and the customers are interact with it. So that slot out there that you see, that slot is where you push your mobile into, and it automatically checks within 2 minutes everything that's everything about the mobile, including its external scratches and dents and stuff, and we are able to offer exchange price for it. And they can also interact with the tablet on the top of the kiosk to surf inventory and order. So it's a complete single point POS, which with payment capability built into it, that we offer to all our franchise. That's a default offer, by the way, for all our partners. So I think we'd already mentioned that we are omni-channel, but how omni-channel is what's interesting here. So if you see this, we are talking about how our distribution matrix is changing over time. And right now, if you see the blue jigsaw puzzle, you'll see that 80% of our current sales is focused on the online marketplace and our affiliate partner sites. But that's going down because we are now focusing on our partners to be able to bring more and more of our traffic. So we are creating a marketplace. So HXKart is the marketplace that we're putting a lot of focus on. There are partners. Of course, we are going to allow our partners to sell on both HXKart as well as our online marketplaces. But we're also increasing our 23% jump on our target coverage in the franchise networks and campus kiosks. I already mentioned about the campus kiosks in these businesses, I mentioned that. And franchise network, we are shop and shops. So we had a tie-up with, Future Group for end of 2019. We signed that up, but with the challenges that Future Group has right now with Amazon and Jio things happening, we are kind of sitting that out a little bit and also working with some other brands. And we'll talk to our partners offline about this, where we have shop-in-shop deals with existing large format retail chains. The advantage that they get in this is that they get automated footfall. The footfall is kind of guaranteed, and they're able to work in a fairly busy, motivated shopping environment where people are already there.
that's something we can offer to our partners too across the country, right? So, of course, we are also working with some national super distributors like Ingram and others, and they will continue to remain there. So that's also another channel. So this is kind of the overall distribution matrix that we have. And as we have skewed more towards online, and this year specifically because of the multiple lockdowns and complexity around supply chain, online happened to be very big. And as I mentioned, almost 70% month-on-month growth. So we've continue to leverage that. But I'm very convinced that the story for India in chapter 2, version 2 of the refurbished electronics or just electronics and retail space is going to be scripted in tier 2, and it'll have to be phygital. It has to be physical as well as digital. The behavior today for retail purchases have also significantly changed. Consumers are walking into retail stores to check out and test out products, and then they're buying those same products online, which means the retail store is not only hosting the potential consumer and wasting money or investing money on what is essentially display stock, but in many cases, they're actually accelerating purchases online by providing the touch and feel factor and the understanding of the product that these consumers are getting from the store, and then transferring their purchase decision online. So this is something that is happening and that will continue to happen. There's no way to walk out from the reality. But what we are offering is, we're offering a solution where these retailers who are our retail partners are able to benefit from that online purchase. Today, there's no benefit from that online purchase. Actually, it's a loss for these retailers. But what we have created is a situation which is physical and online connected, which means a consumer comes in, gets the experience, of the product, gets a touch and feel of the product, and gets an understanding of the brand. And if that person is still motivated to buy it online, the retailer still gets credit for that purchase. So and in many cases, we would motivate our retailers to push these consumers online, because they will continue to be credited for that purchase, but they will now have to stock less because virtual inventory can be sold online and still be credited to the seller. So that's I think, revolutionary process that we're starting out. And I think more and more brands as we go forward, you will see this happening, because the consumer behavior of treating offline as an experience store and online as a purchase destination is not going to change. It's going to increase. So that's kind of a little bit of a thought process advice for us, whether you work with us in the future or some other brand. I think this is something that as a partner, if you're evaluating options to invest, you should keep this in mind.
So, a couple of things, sorry, I thought we'll just take up a couple of questions since they're related. Now, there are a couple of questions are coming in. So this happens across brands, as in across consumer brands. You're not concentrated on only one brand when it comes to refurbished products.
Sure, of course.
So that's
we work with all the major brands. One of the advantages of refurbished, and I'm thinking about this from an investor point of view, somebody who's investing in a store or as a partner to someone in the space. See, the advantage, one of the biggest disadvantages of a young franchise brand is exactly that, the franchise brand. I mean, the brand might not be very big, it might be aggressive, but it's still a way to go. Many people do not know the brand. And you, as a result, might not be sure whether you get the footfall you need because the brand might not have the pull. And on the other hand, if you work with a very, very well-known brand, you might have to pay a premium from a fees point of view and from an investment point of view. Now, with a model like HX, the huge advantage here also is that you're working with brands that everybody already knows. So when you sell a HX refurbished phone, you're not just selling an HX refurbished phone. You're selling an iPhone, or you're selling a Samsung S9, or you're selling a Vivo V11, or you're selling a Poco F1. So you're selling brands and models that are already well known and well in demand. And we will guide you through which are the brands today that are in demand, which are the models that are in demand, how much in demand, what are the price points. All of these are intelligence that we provide you on a almost daily basis through our platform, which is automated. You can just check out today's prices, what's going. So there's something called the MOP, which is the market operating price of a phone. So a phone might have a MRP of 10,000 written on it, but you and I would know that in reality, in the store, it might be selling for say 6,000. Then we are able to manage our refurbished selling prices accordingly to make sure that the customers are getting the right price for the product at the right value. So a very good question, Ashita. We work with all the large brands, not just in mobile phones, but also in other products. For example, we work with JBL in audio. We work with Sony in audio. We work with HP and Dell and Lenovo in laptops. So we work with all the top brands, and we provide the complete experience on these brands.
Sure. And, when your experienced stores or partners or franchisees are taking anything, or buying anything from somebody who's selling it to them after checking whether it is worth, buying or not. So how does this logistic happen? I mean, he takes the good, sends it to the, your unit to get refurbished, and then he gets it back, or the inventory goes on to online for him to access it?
Right. So there are two parts to this. I'm going to take you through a diagram. It's a very good question. It's a quick diagram that explains the franchise partners, because there are different kind of partnerships here, right? So what we typically talking about is the points on the right, which is the retail partner and the service partner, right? So there are some franchisees who will get both. If you're a regional franchisee, for example, you might have service partnerships or retail partnerships. But what this fundamentally do is that they capitalize inventory and decide how much of the inventory they'd like to be online versus offline. This is, again, as I mentioned earlier, is a unique option with us and makes it very flexible for the partner on how they want to invest in the inventory. So, for example, if a partner comes in and says, I want to invest in, say, 1,000 mobile phones, right now, and 500 laptops, and that's a certain value X and Y, say. Now, X plus Y is what they've invested in. And they say, you know what, depending on what my sales structure is, though, I can only sell 50 mobile phones or 10 laptops out of my store in a week, say, okay? But what about the rest? So what happens with the rest is that we are happy for them to access our online platforms and our online marketplaces for the rest. And we are confident enough about the opportunity for them to invest in that we are going to give them a committed sale back for a certain value of that. So if they commit to, say, 500 mobile phones, we might say that we will commit to the sale of 100 of these, and the rest are on a best effort basis. But so what you get is essentially a partner who was potentially able to, in a normal world, would open a retail store and sit in there and wait for customers to walk in and figure out how many they can sell. In this case, they're actually discussing how much they would like to sell, not how much they can sell. This is what I'd like to sell. This is the kind of investments I want to make. And I don't care if I have a smaller store or a bigger store. Can you help me sell the rest of the inventory, which is virtual for me? And our answer to that is absolutely yes. And we're happy to do it why we are able to do this, it's no rocket science. The reason we're able to do it is because the refurbished market is growing so fast. We are not able to keep the supply flowing in sync with demand. So if I'm selling 20,000 pieces today, I already have a demand of 2 lakh. So I'm losing demand every day because that's how big the market is. So I am able to happily allow our partners to invest in virtual stock with me because I am very confident to be able to sell that. And that confidence is why I'm able to give them a committed sell promise on the virtual inventory that they're investing in. Of course, the real inventory that they want to sell out of the store, they're happy to do it. In fact, in some cases, with some level of franchise, we're even giving them a stock correction promise for the first 3 months so that they are able to judge the kind of sales they're able to achieve in their store, because they might not know it from day one. They might have a guesswork and they might not achieve it, or they might overachieve it. But whatever the case is, we're able to offer them a stock correction situation. Now compare this to a traditional retail partner situation, where you've given a lot of stock, you pushed a lot of stock by the salespeople, you acquired the stock, and now you have nothing to do because you opened a store and nobody knows about your store. So the people are getting to know about your store in your neighborhood slowly. So the first 3 to 4 months is a very difficult conversation between the brand and the franchise partner, because the brand wants the partner to sell more. And the partner says there's no footfall. So why don't you do some marketing? Why don't you do something else and get me more footfall? I'm not getting it. And the brand knows that even heavy marketing might not equivalently result in footfall for that specific store, because stores have to stay visible to consumers for a few months before people will start walking into that store. That's the reality. But that's the reality that most franchise partners don't either evaluate strongly enough before starting up or kind of ignore. And I think we have seen this happening in many other cases, and where I have seen franchise experiences happening both for me on this side of the table and the other side. And what we are offering is a solution for this. We know that footfall in the first few months will be slower. It needs to take time to grow, and we'll be the partner and the brand has to work together for that to grow. But while that is growing, there should be an opportunity for the partner to break even, or at least make a little money, make lower profits as they invest in the initial days of growth of the brand. And that is something that we are pretty uniquely, I think, Ashita, able to offer to our partners. Of course, going back to this diagram, there are other partners like leasing and other partners, rental partners, which I don't think applies to this discussion specifically. But retail and service partnerships are available with us for our partners. See, our objective is to build. We are already building, I think, one of the a mind-blowing Make in India story here. These are phones that are coming from across the globe, laptops that are manufactured from across the globe, but they're refurbished and resold and remade in India, with Indians signing up for this, with us signing up for the warranty and the coverage and the services for it. So we want to grow with a partner model, because I think tier 2, and the reason I'm doing this, again, no rocket science, I think as far as tier A is concerned, there's sophisticated distribution models available, but these drop off the edge when you start talking about tier 2, which is why a tier 2 refurbished in this industry has not really broken into tier 2 as much as we'd like to. And I think it's a huge story, because if you look at tier 2 with a more compromised disposable income situation, but as new TV coming in and everything else, the awareness for brands is at all-time high at this places. So there's an aspirational element around, say, for example, buying an iPhone, but the disposable income might not be able to support it, which means refurbished becomes a perfectly positioned product in the tier 2. But the distribution mechanism in tier 2 is not the best today in India. Rather than depending, we will, as I mentioned, we do have partnerships with several other brands in the retail space for tier 2. But to bolster that, to grow that, we would like to grow through a franchise partner model to grow our tier 2 exposure across India. So we want our partners to grow with us. And I think it's a phenomenal Make in India story that everybody should be a part of.
Sure, it makes sense. So do you encourage him to work locally as well? Because, see, I can imagine a city which is a tier 2, and, there would be a lot of probably electronics which cannot get fixed there, but can be refurbished, or they want to exchange it, or they want to buy more. As you rightly said that, if we have 4 people in a family today, all 4 of them need a smart access. That could be a laptop or an iPad or a palm pad or a phone, right? So the requirement is more. And in tier 1, we feel that, with a lot of other companies that we interact with, I've realized that there's a lot of stuff which they're not able to collect and refurbish. So those collection points is a big issue when it comes to, so selling is not that big an issue, but collecting it, fixing it, and then making it available is something, which is an issue. So one, of course, I've understood that, digitally you're solving it. That if I have more inventory, somebody else can help me, or you as a platform can help a franchisee doing that. But how it would help other physical stores, say in tier 2 city or a tier 3 city?
Right. I think fantastic, Ashita. Hit the nail right on the head. And, I would have less convincing answer even a few months back. But we learned something very interesting during the lockdown. See, I'll give you this example. So what happened was, we have a bunch of remote refurbishment factories across India. So we have one in Pune, one in Noida, one in Bangalore. So there's several. There's two in Calcutta. So we had these, and most other large refurbishment players typically have an in-house refurbishment factory because they have to oversee the quality of the product that's coming out. But because we have the Faraday platform, we don't need to be physically at the same location to test the quality of the product. So as a result, we are able to invest in remote factories, which is great because it's very asset light for us. It's very asset light for us. And, we are still able to monitor the quality because every product that comes out of these factories are basically external QC'd through Faraday before we accepted it as a finished product. Now, this was going on and we never thought there's a better model than this. But, during the lockdown, what happened was many of these factories closed down because of proximity rules and lockdown, it closed down. And these technicians, they're not the most affluent bunch of people, right? So they were obviously facing a lot of challenge around making things meet. And they would talk to us directly saying, sir, could you give us a job, give us something that we can do. So, and, it became a regular, and we were also struggling with supply at that point. So I told my team, why don't you send these Faradays to some of these top technicians that we knew that were working for us. They were working on those factories that are partners, but we knew those technicians directly, right? Because we were working with them. So he said, why don't you send it to them and see how their work quality is, right? Let's see if they can do it at home. The interesting part is, as you rightly mentioned, refurbishment doesn't take the same kind of infrastructure as manufacturing, right? It is an individual job. You have a bunch of toolkits and some spares and you can get onto it. And these folks started turning around really good quality phones back to us. And laptops. So we said, this is fantastic. Why don't we make a process out of it? So we started doing that. And today we have actually, when the lockdown got over, we didn't open all the factories back. We actually continued to working with these workers, technicians directly. And we realized that now, because of Faraday and because of the process that we built over the last 9 months, remote refurbishment is an absolute reality. So we can be close to the point of pickup of these products and refurb there itself and either sell or distribute from there. So to answer your question, we would encourage, so we do have, if you see our region part of franchisee model where we're talking about the service partnership element, we're actually asking them to take the first 3 to 6 months to understand the business on the retail side. And once they do it, it's contractually enabled for them to start doing refurbishment, because we also, obviously, refurbishment is slightly technical. They need to understand the business a little more before they understand what they're doing. And then we embed them with the right the technicians, and they kind of scale that. And to do that, what we did was we worked with the government skill development mission. And we are, we'd be happy to note that we are actually, as a startup, we are actually one of the few nationally impaneled partners in the National Skill Development Corporation, NSDC, and PM Yuva Yojana, because we want to build technicians at a scale which is 1,000x of where we are right now in India. So we want to build it in the last mile and then help our franchises access those people. So those technicians get placed at a job. Our franchises get last mile skilled technical labor, and we are able to create a supply chain that is self-sufficient in that region itself and doesn't have to depend on the hub and spoke model.
Sure. And does it really help in reducing e-waste? I mean, just an offhand question, but does it help?
Well, it helps in two ways, not just the refurbishment itself. Of course, the refurbishment helps in e-waste because you're able to cycle it more locally. But actually, the Faraday itself helps manage e-waste because you realize that because I understand the quality of the product I'm buying, I'm able to put a price on the product based on how much e-waste I know is going to be generated out of it. We have national partnerships with 2 e-waste players who accept our e-waste from us, but our e-waste is a fraction of the typical e-waste amount that is generated by a refurbished company like us. And that's because we take very clear calls about e-waste that we're acquiring and at what price we're acquiring. For example, the partner will remain unnamed, but we work with one of the top two, consumer finance companies, and we have an exclusive deal with them to acquire, payment default units from them. They finance a lot of these a lot of these electronics items when they're sold at retail points, and they finance it. And if the finance doesn't come through, many times they have to foreclose on that loan and reacquire them. So when it's reacquired, these products are for these companies more of a cost of inventory than how much they want to recover from value, because they're like, please clear this off of our store because we need more products coming in. So we pick them up at pennies to a dollar, and many of these actually go to serve other things, not just e-waste, but we're able to provide this. For example, we have a phones for kids program where we are planning to give 1 million phones or laptops away to deserving children. Because we realized one thing, I realized this from my, from the lady who helps us at home. She's a, housekeeper who helps us at home. And she mentioned that, her child needs a mobile phone, and she knew that I was in this mobile business. She said, Babu, आपकी जो ये business है, phone मिल जाएगा क्या? I said, why do you need a phone? Said, my daughter is studying at home, and she was at a government school. So she doesn't have a phone and she can't study. So I realized that, how difficult with a financially vulnerable section of society, sending their children to school is difficult in itself. And then to have a situation where not going to school actually means dropping out of school because they can't continue online with. So we realized that we have to create a humanitarian program through our foundation to help them. So a lot of these products that require that we know we're not going to be able to sell at again as good as new condition are actually now being diverted, not just to the e-waste companies, but also repurposed to sell to donate to these children who are now studying. So there are multiple ways, and I'd encourage our partners to do local programs on this, because the whole idea is not to centralize this. The whole idea for this conversation today and what I'm saying here is to try to make this movement more grassroots, because that's the only way we'll survive in a, or grow or be relevant in a country as heterogeneous and as, opportune for this market as India.
Sure. No, definitely. I think that's a very good cause and much needed today, not just today, for another 2-3 years or a decade. I don't know how much time will it really take for, every kid to have that, and, to make sure that they're not deprived of something which is such an essential thing. Right. No, definitely. So I think so I've understood. So my point was only to, understand that whether locally it can be done with, of course, a brand and a tag and a quality assurance, of HX or not. But I think,
so that is that we maintain a very close kind of oversight over the process. So first of all, the entire platform runs on a home developed product called Elvis. It's a funny take on the product because, the Americans saying Elvis is in the house, and we actually have Elvis in the house. So that's where it came from. So software is called Elvis, and Elvis is what controls the entire refurbishment cycle, right from procurement to, restocking. So the entire process run on Elvis. So technician for every step, right from assignment to spares, release, and everything is managed online and is observable at a point of time through the platform. So that's the first thing we did, because otherwise it's very difficult to manage quality of product. Second, we are the only people that can offer the spares to our refurbishment partners, because there are a lot of quality of spares, and the quality of the product will be directly affected by the kind of spares that you use inside it, because although it's all sealed up, you can't see it. The longevity of the product depends on the quality of products that are used, and we only use genuine products. So we control that very clearly, and each of our inventory is marked so that we know which spares, which serial number of the spare that was actually used in which product. So we go to that level to make sure that we are, not utilizing, because see, we are also, it's not just reputation or the quality of the product. It's also the fact that we're backing it up with a warranty. So it is in our financial interest and our partners' financial interest to not have a lot of callbacks and claims on the warranty. And that can only happen if the quality of the product is, the top quality, top shelf. So yes, we are able to manage that so far. We have done that using our factories. So the model was originally, before the franchisee model came in and we started with working with the partners, we're anyway working with refurbishment players, factories who were working remotely with us, and we had segregated spaces with them. And we honed the entire process with these people who are already experts in this space. And we honed it. And then we utilized the auditing capability of large company partners like Amazon and Flipkart, who used to audit us, to make sure that we are shining. So we kind of made them work a little bit on our behalf, but their oversight and their capability kind of helped us build the Elvis into the scale and the depth that it is today. In fact, what we also did was we worked with one of the largest software ERP companies in the world. We will not name them today, but we did a RFP with them and kind of helped them, kind of made them walk us through their entire product over a period of almost 9 months, where we kind of evaluated their product with us, and we realized that we are getting better and better. And obviously we didn't end up taking their product, but I think we now know that our product is equivalent to one of the best ERPs out there.
Sure. No, that's
kind of a jugaad factor I'm just sharing with the crowd here. I'm hoping it's taken in the spirit of this.
I'm sure. I hope so too. So how would, Dipanjan, what would be the investment level? There are many of them asking as to, what is the investment level, that varies? Does it vary from tier 1 to tier 2? And does it vary in different formats in terms of, the quantity?
So, no, it doesn't vary on the tiers, because we are able to offer, as I mentioned, your sale as a partner does not depend just on your location. You are able to access the entire national network, although you might be sitting in one corner of the country. So it is not dependent on the tier of the town that you're looking at. It actually depends on the kind of a partner you want to be. Okay, so the initial partner level is what we call the kiosk partner. And why don't you open that doc up for a quick second? Yeah, it's just one page.
Sure.
So it'll help you. Just hold on. So it will help people follow that. Just give me 1 second. I'll just open that up. So while I open that up, I'm just going to talk about it. So basically, it is in 3 tiers, 3 primary tiers. One is a kiosk partner, where you basically invest in a small kiosk, and you're good to go from that perspective, because you're given the Faraday and basically a few kiosk marketing elements around wall decor now and everything else, but you don't necessarily have to invest in inventory at all. It's a buyback based plan. And this is not meant for a lot of serious investors. This is meant for young entrepreneurs who plan to start out in life and need a little push. So we created that specifically for young entrepreneurs who potentially, there are so many. So I, keep hearing this. I was on the NASSCOM 10,000 Startups committee, and we kept hearing about how a lot of tier 2 young students don't have jobs, do not have an opportunity where they might get a job in the near term, but they're all educated, they've graduated, and they're just waiting in a way. And it's a terrible, terrible situation of real India. And I think I want to help that out in the little way I can. And we created this kiosk franchisee model, especially for that, so that young people who have they don't have a lot of investment to make, but they can start out and they can grow from there. So that's the first model, the kiosk franchisee. Then we have the unit franchisee, which is where you basically create you're likely to have a small store, and where you'll basically have some inventory set up. And I'm saying some, but I'm going to go through that, I'm just opening the deck up while I'm talking to you. So you'll have some investments in the stock locally, and you might have a choice. You have a choice of whether you want to invest beyond your local stock in a larger global sales situation. And it's global because I'm just saying global because we'll not just sell in India, we also sell in Bangladesh, in Africa, in the US and the UK. Right now, we're increasing the market as we grow. So that's the second. And this is clearly just a retail sales situation, which is primarily store-based, but also has an online component and a national or global offline component to it. And then the third one is the regional partner, which is where you have the rights to an experience store, which will be a larger store, but also additional services access, which is in-home, the InstaCare services, where you can basically provide at-home repairs or in-site repairs for consumers. And we also give you the option of opening up a refurbishment center with a regional focus on the region that you own. So that region could be different. I mean, if it's a tier 2 town, it could be the entire town, for example. If it's a larger city, like for example, Mumbai has 10 regions, but Nagpur has 1 region. So it's like that. So you have, I'm just giving you a sense of how it could differ, but a regional franchise will essentially have all 3 elements: retail, as well as services, which is a very high margin play, by the way, and refurbishment. So that's kind of where the model is. And let me, it's very difficult for me to do 2 things at the same time. I'm not very equipped to that. Multitasking is difficult. So I talk, I can't move the mouse. And when I move the mouse, I can't talk. So give me 1 second.
Sure.
Just have a difficulty. Hold on. So I'll quickly scroll down. I've already shown you the picture of the lipstick, which is the kiosk that you'll typically see in the stores. And I'm going to skip over the brochure elements. I'm going to quickly go to the partnership options here. Okay. So I mentioned about the kiosk franchisee, which is what we call the HXPress. And it's really a very small token franchisee fee. It's a small retail footprint, which could be, it might be a place where a child, but a young person, his family might have some little space. It just takes a little space for them to be able to fit the Faraday and a small kiosk around it. And we are really asking these folks to focus on buybacks, which is what you mentioned, Ashita, a little earlier. How do you arrange for the buyback from these customers, stock that they already have at home, and then provide some online only sales where they can sell through the Faraday and it can be fulfilled by the company within 24 to 48 hours. So it's a zero inventory game, but this is not open to everyone. We will screen partners who apply for kiosk franchisee, because as I mentioned, we really want to encourage young entrepreneurship through this. This is meant for folks who are really trying to step out of the beaten path, not take a job, but try something out on their own. So this is for them. This is not, but for, the general investors, it starts from unit franchisee, which is a minimum investment of 10 lakhs and a franchisee fee of 1 lakh. And we can discuss these. Obviously, there are several options around it. We require at least 100 square feet retail footprint here. We do offer, margins for both buyback as well as sales. So this is very interesting. Every exchange phone that comes to you, because see, reality is that any person that comes to you for a buy will typically have 1 version of the product with them. They will exchange it, right? So here a partner makes money both on the exchange as well as the sale. So every phone that you acquire from them, that you pass through Faraday, and Faraday is going to give the offer price, you give that offer price to the customer, and every week there'll be a reconciliation where you get the money back from the company. And, you basically ship the products to the company also weekly, and then you have sales. So this is what you earn, and you have we will both invest 5% of the returns that we want to do into local marketing, because as we grow, or 1% sale, whichever is lower for you. So we will do that in marketing. This is not to spend. This is really from a skin in the game perspective, so that both parties feel that there is skin in the game of investment in marketing, not just globally, which obviously the brand always wants to do, but also locally at the place where the store is. And it is visible and kind of discussed mutually with the partner. What we're also offering, special offer right now, is basically a 15% assured annual return. And Ashita, I mentioned this earlier, where I said that we are offering an assured return on the virtual stock that we have. So this is offer right now, and we are offering 100% monthly stock correction for our partners right now, because we're very, very, very high in demand right now. We are trying to get as much inventory on the platforms and on sales as we can. So we will offer. And let me share a reality check with folks who are trying to evaluate electronic sales today. You saw this 10% to 15% sales margin. You are, and many of you who might be in the mobile or electronics business right now would know this. The current margin that you run, that you achieve out of selling new phones is somewhere between 0.5% to 2%. If you're selling a premium phone like Apple, you probably, if you're an Apple authorized reseller, you're probably making 0.5%. If you're a Samsung, you're probably making 1 or 2. If you're selling really down market Vivo and Oppo phones and base models, then you're probably making 3 to 4%. And you know that this is to be true. So this is the kind of margins you make. And there are no stock corrections today. The stock correction that used to happen, 10 years or 5 years back even, have stopped. In fact, there is no zero investment stock keeping either. That used to happen before. Brand would come and hand you over a bunch of stock and say, sell it. None of that is happening these days. So, and as a seller who is involved in this business, you would know, if any of you out there is an audience, is that you'll know how difficult it is to sell premium phones right now on offline, because the moment it crosses a certain price bracket, people want to evaluate the same product online, say there's a discount there, this is sasta, ye mehenga hai, and all that keeps on happening. And here, you're going to sell a Apple phone that looks exactly like a new Apple phone, and you make 10 to 15% margin on that. That's the bottom line. And there's already demand for it that we've already proved, and you can read X number of, don't just listen to me. You should actually go to Google, check out the numbers that are listed out by large consulting firms like Zinnov and Deloitte. Check out those numbers. So you know that here is a market that is blowing up. Here's a investment opportunity where you're getting at least 3 to 4 times the margin that you'd get in a similar business in mobile or electronics if you were to do it new. And you're getting money out of buyback also. So every buyback, today, because you don't have a Faraday, you go to a shop and the person across the counter just picks up your phone ki sir ye ghuma ke sir iske liye 1000 rupees milega. Kyun 1000 milega, kyun 1200 nahi milega aur kyun 800 nahi milega, kisi ko pata nahi hai, right? Nobody knows why, but it is that guy's call. And the reason it's this guy's call is he's not interested in the phone. He just wants to sell you a new product. He's just patiently taking it back because he knows he has to remove that product from your hand in order to sell you a new one. Here, so he's never going to make money on that product because somebody is going to come in the evening and pick that product in a chola for him and give him exactly that kind of money. So it goes. He never makes money. Now you're making money out of this. So for every sale that you do, potentially you're also getting additional 3 to 5% because of the buyback. So just wanted to mention this to you. So this is the H experience or the unit franchisee model. And then we have the H exclusive model, which is the regional franchising model. And this is a minimum investment in stock of 1 crore. Again, something that we can discuss. We are willing to discuss those numbers because everybody's experience in this space is different. And if you are somebody who's been in the industry, who understands the domain well, this might actually work better for us, or might not. Sometimes it doesn't work. I'll explain that later in some examples if we have time. But we can discuss this. Don't take these numbers, take this with a grain of salt. We'll discuss it, but it will not change significantly. It's just what it is right now. In 6 months, we will give the RF the ability to invest in a refurbishment center, which is what I talked about, that you will be able to, we want you to understand the business dynamics for the first 3 to 6 months and understand the economics of it. We don't want to get you into a refurbishment center thing right off front because it's a lot of bandwidth that will get out of it. So first, I want you to understand the business because objective, all of us will make a ton of money. We will definitely make a ton of money. Let's not make all of it on day one. Okay. So I'm just being patient. We'll give you the opportunity to be a refurbishment center, but you can start doing other revenue channels. So if you see the revenue channels here, there's a standard sales and buyback that you'd get in a unit franchisee or H experience, but in H exclusive, you're also getting the revenue for refurbishment, which is 10 to 12% per unit. And you're getting Instacare and Insta warranty sales, which is a huge revenue jump. And again, these are very, very interesting opportunities because this is also a gateway for you to sell these consumers additional products down the line. When you go to their homes, And a lot of people today prefer that. You market locally, they would want you to come home and change their back cover, change their glass. And this is easily done. It's a very, very lucrative business. And there's a very big, I'll give you an example. For example, everybody who wants to buy the phone wants to add a tempered glass to that phone, because there's widely held belief that the tempered glass will make your glass last longer. Now, each tempered glass costs 1 rupee, or actually less, depending on where you buy it from. It could be 10 paisa also. And you typically sell those tempered glasses for $100. And every phone that you sell needs one. So you can do the math. This is just one thing. There are several other things. The back covers. Back covers will typically cost you 500 rupees. You'll sell them for 3,000 rupees. So depending on what the back cover is, if it's wireless charging capable or whatever. So there's a lot of things to be made. So again, in this model, we are happy to offer 18% annualized return on phygital, which means if you did nothing but just invested in phygital inventory with HX, you still be making several times more than your FD. And this is assured, right? So this is contracted and assured for you. And we offer 100% monthly stock correction also. Now, this is not going to last forever. These contracts, which is why we're signing a 1-year contract for this, because we might not be able to offer 100%. We had discussions internally about a 3-year contract versus a 1-year contract. But given how lucrative this is, we might not be able to offer 100% monthly stock correction, honestly, for 3-4 years. So this is what it is today. It's an opportunity for you to kind of take it while the market is happening or changing or kind of shifting. So Ashita, that's kind of as I mentioned, you will all get free Faraday devices with each investment. You'll get custom store decor, which will be included in all the plans.
Sure. And one more thing, that, you're looking at all of these partners at a national scale. We don't have any geographic restriction for it.
No. In fact, we don't even have, we can talk offline about this. We don't even have a national restriction for it. So we have now started some interesting discussions with potential partners in South America and in the Europe. So, and I'm actually from US myself. So I'm planning a separate kind of large company structure in the US to kind of take this separately, because we're seeing a lot of interest from the US, because we have a lot of tie-ups with AT&T and T-Mobile and some of these other brands in the US where we acquire from in bulk. So it's an easy partnership to kind of use some of their retail footprint to kind of create a distribution mechanism in there.
Sure. No, makes a lot of sense. So I think, yes, we are actually running out of time. I've been getting cues. Sure. But it was wonderful, Dipanjan. I would probably, get to one of these days, probably next week sometime in, one of the offline calls with you to, understand a bit more that we can do and how we can actually, be a part of it. And anybody, to all the visitors, if in case you require anything, you can contact HX directly, or you can write to us, or you can visit, our website for all the details. Would be happy to answer any of the queries going further. You can even visit our show for the interaction with HX directly. And yes, we'll meet you probably next week again with more opportunities. And thank you so much, Dipanjan, for your time. It was really interesting, and I didn't even record the time while I was talking to you. I mean, the opportunity is so interesting that I totally got engrossed in it.
Thank you, Ashita. Thanks a lot. Thanks everyone for the patient hearing, and you folks have a great, happy 2021 and stay safe and happy with your family. All the best. Hope to meet you soon again.
All right, Dipanjan. Thank you for your time.
Bye-bye.
And thanks everyone.